Stop the presses, stop what you're doing. Liverpool have went into the transfer market for not one, but two, well, maybe 1.5 new players in this summer transfer window under new manager Arne as they look to reinforce their ranks ahead of what is a huge season for them in transition from one era, one dynasty into perhaps the next. In the video today, we'll be looking at the 2 or the 1.5 incoming transfers that Liverpool have made, because these transfers will make the headlines for a lot of different reasons, but particularly in the case of Federico Chiesa, I think all the kind of neutral observers around this one will definitely be presenting the pros and cons list of what this transfer really does cover. This is one that Liverpool are maybe playing with a little bit of fire with, but if it works out, could be a bit of a masterstroke in this window for the transfer fee associated with it. In the video today, we'll be breaking down the transfers and the current standing of the Liverpool squad, as well as what we've seen over the first 2 games under Arne Slot. At any point in the video today, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And get into the comment section down below, Liverpool fans, and let me know, is there going to be any more activity in the transfer window? What is top of the hit list? What is top of the agenda? I always look forward to catching the contributions we get in the comment sections on these ones. And yeah, let's just get stuck straight into it. Now, Thiago's retired, Joe Matip has left. There's, Jurgen Klopp as well, of course, and then a few kind of fringe players, Sepp Vandenberg, Carvalho. There's been very little movement here at Anfield over the summer, outgoings as well as incomings, like we were mentioning here in the intro. And the squad, for the most part, is pretty settled, but it's still that same kind of thin way that it's been over the last year or two, where, they've been quite lucky. I think they've not really had the worst of injury crises, but they are quite reliant on the form and the availability of really everyone for the high tempo, high energy, gegenpress and Liverpool football that we've seen over the last few seasons. And under Arne Slot already, we've seen a little bit of a change of tact. It's not major, but it's much more of that kind of 4-2-3-1 kind of setup, certainly, with fullbacks doing the fullbacky jobs and these guys living their best life at the moment. And the reason I kind of preface all of this with that, first of all, is I think Liverpool are in a kind of delicate position, but a pretty strong one, in that way that as long as the next couple of transfers aren't like Balotelli's and stuff like that, then, this transition phase could go a lot better than some other ones that Liverpool and some other Premier League teams have had, which is why the goalkeeper, the half a player, because they've signed him, but he's way back out on loan to Valencia anyway, so it's not like he's pushing Alisson for the job or anything like that. But that's more of a succession plan. Is Alisson going to be maybe the next Brazilian player to go to Saudi Arabia or something like that? Could someone else from around European football want to spend mega money to get him out of Anfield? That's maybe something to talk about another day. So interesting that Liverpool are forward planning in that sense, because Mamardashvili did have a lot of suitors. A lot of teams wanted to even do what Liverpool have done, but Mamardashvili was holding out for getting into a team and being number one goalkeeper. So the fact that he has been won by Liverpool in the race just tells me that they were the best prospect at giving him elite first team opportunity. First team opportunities sooner rather than later, and that's why he's made that decision, because he had a litany of European giants after him. So I think that's a good sign for you guys, also getting a top talent, but I think that's maybe something to think about for further down the road. But with Federico Chiesa coming in, really the first summer transfer for Liverpool here. This is a player that I've been a big fan of for the last couple of years, and I think a lot of football fans that just love goal scorers and love guys that really, put their heart on their sleeve and really play for the jersey, really bleed the colours, and they're like a fan on the pitch in that sense, but obviously an elite footballer. Chiesa's got lots of fans all across European football. On the right-hand side and on the left-hand side, he's very, very effective. He's like a high-energy, high-pressing forward that is very unselfish as well. He's a very good teammate, always happy to sit on, whoever the arrowhead, whoever the goal-scoring forwards are, whoever the guys are creeping in at the back post on for tap-ins as well. And we've seen that for Italy as well as Juventus before formerly of Fiorentina. But the thing with Chiesa that's kind of been a bit suspect is this transfer window in general. He has been on the transfer market for ages. He was about to go to Roma, and then Juve kind of kiboshed it because Daniele De Rossi looks like he's building something there, and I think Juve just thought, hey, we don't need to help them out. They're building a pretty strong team anyway. And the asking price was like 50 million, and then the asking price was like 30 million, and then it was 25, and then it was 20, and then it was, okay, guys, we'll accept 15. And he's been 15 million for a little while. This isn't breaking news. This isn't like a sudden development at the final hours of the transfer window. This is maybe over the last week or so pre-Liverpool transfer. And when we have a look at his last history over the last 5 seasons or so, for Italy, for Juventus, Champions League, Euro qualifiers, Nations League, Serie A, all that kind of stuff here. He's started 102 matches. He's came off the bench 42 times and that is it. He's also had a significant injury right here in the middle of this period, but there is frequent sporadic periods of injury on either side of this. And if memory serves me, maybe even further back than this, he maybe had another injury similar to this one, which I think why a lot of teams have been put off this transfer for a start. And the second part of this is with Juve especially, like really wanting to offload them and really cutting the price and cutting the price and cutting the price on them. You've got to think they know something that maybe Liverpool don't. And, you know, I'm not saying it's the same kind of thing or anything like that, but it's kind of giving me vibes of like Tonali in Newcastle last year in that sense of like, that was weird why AC Milan wanted to sell him, captain of their title-winning squad. And yeah, I know Chiesa might not be the total fit for like Thiago Motta's football or whatever, but he's definitely not that far off it. And, you know, the reconstruction they've had of their squad, I don't think Chiesa would hold them back on that one, certainly. So it's quite puzzling, you know, the motivation for Juve to really hoist him out and really get him off the books in that regard. And I just worry, as I say, Liverpool might be playing with fire. But if it does work out for them, like I was mentioning before, if I was to look at all of his performances on the right-hand side in any position on the pitch, whether that be right midfield, centre striker, whatever, he's played 46 times with 15 goals and 7 assists, which is a pretty good hit rate, to be honest with you, when he has featured. And then if we do the same thing for every time he's played on the left-hand side, he's played 56 times, 14 goals, 11 assists, and then 3 penalties drawn. I think it was 1 penalty drawn on the right-hand side. So equally effective on the left as he is on the right. And quite often for Juve, under Allegri there, he was played in a front two with Dusan Vlahovic, and he was like the willing runner that would go, doing this with my hands when I've got this tactics board here, but he would like run round either side of wherever Vlahovic was and, you know, press a defence or, you know, make that run into the channel, and then he'd be the target man in the middle, that kind of thing. So a guy that I don't think comes in, he doesn't take Luis Diaz out of the team. He certainly doesn't take Salah out of the team. And, you know, I'm a big Jota fan. Like, I think, like, Jota is a coach's dream. And that's why it's probably why Arne Slot has just favoured him over Darwin. I think we all know what Darwin brings, and he's not the perfect player, especially at the tippy top end of elite football, which is where Liverpool do live and breathe. Whereas Jota does kind of operate at that level. He's maybe not the most glamorous, but, like, as I say, I can imagine him being an absolute coach's dream. So I don't see him losing his place really anytime soon, which makes me think that Chiesa, especially for the transfer fee associated, really just helps buff out this front three so that between Darwin, who doesn't really have any versatility, Gakpo that does have, like, you know, definitely an efficient level of versatility across a few positions here, and then Chiesa that also has, like, I'd probably say a desirable level of versatility really for the potential to play for Liverpool if he, you know, gels into the team well and he can keep these injuries to a minimum. And having that sort of level of quality in the attacking positions, because 5 subs rule, the level of the Premier League, the fixture pile-on that will happen for Liverpool, like, you know, it's not really about the starting 11 anymore, as many of you guys know. It is really about, you know, the starting 15, you know, because for Man City, for Arsenal, for Real Madrid, there's, you know, for all the big powerhouse teams in world football, there's some guys that, you know, play every game, whether they start or not. Especially the guys that feature in the attacking department. Those guys are, you know, just as capable of being the match winner, being the hero on the day, whether they start or not. So picking them out and, you know, adding them into the fold here for, you know, success and failure and all the rest of it is, I think, almost as vital as upgrading the best 11. If it is someone that will categorically come into that top 15 still and be effective in the final 30-35 minutes at the most of a match, unless they're a half-time sub, which again is becoming a wee bit more common again, I suppose, but it's not certainly an out-and-out feature of the game again. But in terms of just general coverage, Liverpool have a decent squad here in terms of 2 to a position. Maybe once you get to the second string, you are really reliant on guys being at best form to keep up with the pace of the best 11. Maybe Gravenberch coming in here as a, you know, like over the first 2 games, he scored 64 out of 100, playing 89 minutes. And in the first match, playing the 90 minutes, only 38. I think it was a bit of a different match, of course, against Ipswich. But a guy that, you know, has had a lot of promise, a lot of potential, certainly. And that is the sort of position, that is the sort of role that you want to find Gravenberch in. Maybe being next to McAllister does leave Liverpool perhaps a little bit vulnerable in that defensive midfield position if the team is pulled and stretched in a lot of different funky shapes that a lot of the best teams in the world will do to you. But, you know, certainly, like, I think there's a good foundation here. But with the balance that's here and the quality really overall, it is a high level. Guys like Elliott and Jones are, you know, really, really good players in my book. You know, if another midfielder was to come in here, they really need to put Gravenberch out the team, or Szoboszlai. You know, I'm a fan of Szoboszlai as well. I doubt it would be for him. It probably would be the Gravenberch. But it feels like McAllister is like nailed in this team as that kind of deeper playmaker. And like I mentioned with the front three, the defence speaks for itself. You know, a lot of these guys are nailed on best 11, and buying better than them is just not in the budget for Liverpool at the moment. So yeah, that's maybe what I would think. Be interesting to see what you guys think in the comment section below. I think this is one that, again, like I'd be so excited to see Chiesa take the Premier League by storm, score a couple of goals quite quickly, and be an important player for Liverpool alongside the other guys in this front three, like the two strings, you know, first choice and second choice. Because Liverpool, if they're at their best, they're attacking, they're scoring lots of goals. And for me, that's a joy to watch, and I'm always up for it. But I do worry for my Liverpool supporting friends that maybe Chiesa, you get that couple of games, you get that couple of goals, and then, you know, he's out for a couple of months or something. So it's one of those ones to watch out for. Because again, like looking at the likes of, I think all these players have had different spells of being out with injury and stuff like that. So it might be history repeating itself. Let's see. 3 days to go, 72 hours left at that point of recording. It'll be really interesting to see if Liverpool do go back into the market again, because Chiesa, Mamardashvili, you know, these aren't transfers that really should be emptying the well of the transfer kitty, of the war chest that they should have for the post-Klopp era. So it'll be interesting to see how they shake out for the rest of this window. On screen and now some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you on the next one.